You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters. Well, I got to tell you, this only makes sense, all right? The one thing about the Four Nations tournament, and it was an awesome thing to see on television, no doubt about it, of course, had the final between Canada and the USA, and Canada ultimately won in overtime. But nonetheless, it was a great spectacle. But the one country that was missing that sort of cast a shadow over the whole thing, because there's so many NHL players from Russia, a lot of people, rightfully so, called out the fact that the NHL was not having Russia, or Russia was not allowed to participate in that tournament. All right. So, of course, Trump and Putin had a long phone call yesterday about trying to get everything with the Ukraine worked out to the best of Trump's ability. And one of the things that came up was hockey games between the U.S. and Russia. We do have an NHL response to this, by the way. During Tuesday's confab, Vladimir Putin reportedly discussed the idea of a hockey game between the two rival nations. Man, I cannot imagine how many people would watch that. That would get some real ratings. According to information released by the Russian government, well, you never know if that's true or not, but these days, their media versus ours, it's a toss-up. Putin proposed that teams be called from the National Hockey League in the U.S. and the Continental Hockey League in Russia. Quote, Donald Trump supported Vladimir Putin's idea to organize hockey matches in the USA and Russia between Russia and American players playing in the NHL and KHL, the Kremlin stated in a statement published after the call, Yahoo News reported. The report states that Trump generally agreed to the idea, but plans for such games will be arranged later. Quote, the presidents agreed to stay in touch on all issues raised, according to the Russian news release. The proposal comes after Russia was isolated from international sports as a consequence of its invasion of the Ukraine starting in 2022. For instance, not long after the invasion, the International Ice Hockey Federation banned Russian teams from competing in its sanctioned events. Man, I think that's total crap. I do. The last time Russian athletes were admitted to the world stage was when Russia won the silver medal in hockey at the 2022 Beijing Olympics, which occurred just before Russian forces invaded the Ukraine. In case you're wondering, right here, there are 146 Russian players in the National Hockey League right now. All right, so more about this right here. We have become aware of the conversation between Trump and Putin. The NHL said in a statement to ESPN, quote, obviously, we were not a party to those discussions. It would be inappropriate for us to comment at this time. Of course, that's the kind of statement Gary Bettman would issue, their commissioner, who I absolutely cannot stand. Point of fact, I don't like any commissioners in any of these sports right now. They're very devoid of testicular fortitude. I'm just keeping it real. All right? They're awful. Adam Silver, Roger Goodell, Bettman, and Rob Manfred. The NHL's relationship between Russia changed dramatically after Putin's invasion of the Ukraine, blah, blah, blah. The league suspended its dealings with the KHL in March 2022, instructing teams to cease contact with KHL and with agents based in Russia. It also terminated its broadcast agreement with Russian television. Wow. And there's Russian players playing in the NHL. Jesus. Russia has been frozen out of the hockey world since its invasion of the Ukraine. It was banned along with Belarus from international hockey tournaments by the International Ice Hockey Federation since 2022. That ban was extended last month through 2025-26 season, citing security concerns. Is Belarus on here? No, yeah. Well, all right. So, back to this. That ban would carry through the 2026 Winter Olympics in Milan, which is scheduled to have NHL players' participation for the first time since 2014. Despite the IIHF's ruling, the International Olympic Committee will have final decision on Russia and Belarus participating in the games and under what conditions. Trump recently made hockey headlines by calling Team USA on the morning of their NHL Four Nations Face-Off Championship in Boston to wish them luck, yada, yada, yada. That tournament became politically charged thanks to Trump's tariff plans impacting the Canadian economy and his statements about Canada, the 51st state. Oh, cry me a river, Canada. So anyway, that's where we sit. Like I said, a lot of people voiced their feelings about the fact that Russia should have been included in this Four Nations tournament because some of the best players in the NHL are Russian. I mean, sorry, not sorry? I don't know what to tell you. If you want a true tournament, and it's already being discussed for the next one, they've got to figure out a way to allow Russian players to play in this thing. Okay, because there's too many Russian players. You saw that. The fourth highest country that provides players to the National Hockey League is from Russia. I mean, do you want the best of the best? Do you want the best people representing their countries? Then, and I think it adds a little something. You know, it adds a little juice to it if Russia's there, right? Maybe we can get a little Rocky Balboa, Trump sitting across here and Putin sitting across here and, Rocky IV action. Who doesn't want? I mean, we got a little bit of that, a little taste of that in the Four Nations thing between Canada and the U.S. There was some actual feelings with those players, and that's why they ended up fighting as soon as one of those games started. They dropped the gloves and said, "Let's rock." And it was compelling TV, and it was also, I believe, the highest rated hockey game in I don't know how many years, decades, something like that. It was an unbelievable watch. It really was. Tell me what you think. Should they allow Russian players to play in Four Nations? Should NHL players from the United States and from Russia be allowed to collide on a hockey rink? I can't imagine why you would have a problem with that, really. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.